Tapi yang tuition, semua benda tu tak free. Tu memang I spend 2,000. Hi everyone, welcome back to Asharaman Advisory YouTube channel. Today's topic is a topic that is very dear to my heart because it's my personal journey of enrolling both my kids to SJKC. So the question here is, should you send your kid to SJKC? Let's find out. Before I met my husband, I've always had this vision where I am going to send my future kids to SJKC. At that time, I was in my 20s, balling, tengah, enjoying life. How did I get that vision? Is because I was friends with Chinese and I could see the advantage when they have a third language, Bahasa English Mandarin. And partly because my great-grandparents who have passed away, they taught my mom, they said, cari ilmu biarlah sampai ke negeri China. And I thought, kalau my great-grandparents who live in an era where there wasn't any internet, tak ada social media, they could say that to my mother and my mother then passed it to me. What more me yang tengah era teknologi ni, why can't I do something different and elevate the status of my kids punya generation? Because what if I cannot give them harta? At least I can give them education. And what if I cannot give them private or international education? At least I give them the gift of language, which is Mandarin. For me personally, my late grandmother, because I'm the eldest cucu, the eldest cicit, semuanya eldest lah dalam keturunan I ni, anggap berat dah tanggungjawab dia. My grandmother gave me the gift of language, which is English. That's why I speak better in English, mencarut in English, menulis in English, semua English. Tapi kalau keluar Melayu tu boleh tahan lah rempit dia. When I met my husband, he's half Chinese, dia memang ke laut, tak reti cakap Mandarin. I thought maybe this is my opportunity to send my kids to SJKC. So I started surveying for Mandarin education platform, which is Tadika, since my eldest was 3 years old. And I remembered going to 7 kindergarten, a combination of English Mandarin kindergarten or purely Mandarin kindergarten, when my son was 3. So when I visited those schools, there was a long list of criteria yang I tengok. What is it? Number 1, you must understand if SJKC is your preferred route, you gotta ensure, and especially if you are a family household where we don't talk Mandarin. For your knowledge, my husband doesn't talk Mandarin. I memang tak cakap Cina, tak faham satu apa pun. It's very important that I put my kids in a platform where everything around him speaks Mandarin, because kids are like sponge, they absorb. If you send your kids to a dual language school, meaning English is the main, lepas tu Mandarin as a subject, from my own journey, memang sangat susah for our kids to pick up. And I did it. My eldest son, kesian dia sangat-sangat, he had to go through 3 kinds of tadika till I was satisfied with the final tadika, and at that time, bam, lockdown because of COVID. So imagine his education was interrupted, and it was such a vital stage at 6 years old because I needed to ensure the transition from kindergarten to SJKC was smooth. Tapi nak buat macam mana, dah lockdown kan? So what I did was, my first kindergarten was Malay English Tadika because he was 3 going 4, and then the second Tadika was an English as a main language, and they had Mandarin as a subject. Cloud, because why? Chinese kids today don't talk Mandarin, they talk in English. So during that subject, memang they converse in Mandarin, write pinyin and whatnot, but it's better for the environment to talk in Mandarin as a whole and English pula as a subject. And my son's third Tadika, Alhamdulillah, just before the first lockdown in 2020, it was a Mandarin Tadika with English subject. But having said that, like I said, nasib baik Mandarin as a subject, so all kids were forced to talk in Mandarin. So barulah bermula dia cakap bahasa Cina dia. Tu pun tak fasih because my kids punya main language is English at home. So what I did was, 6 months before my son joined standard 1, I actually found a 1-to-1 tutor yang sangat garang for my son. A lot of my family members disagreed with my approach because nanti traumatize anak tu, this and that, but I stayed true to my intention because I was concerned even more, what if my son masuk SJKC and the teacher cannot teach him one-to-one? Because you have to understand, the issue in SJKC or sekolah kebangsaan is the same. One classroom, there are up to 40 students. So if your child enters SJKC without basic understanding of pinyin, writing and Mandarin, bercakap, kesian dekat anak kita. You ingat cikgu tu boleh fokus dekat dia, ada lagi 39 anak-anak murid yang cikgu tu kena mengajar. And if you see the syllabus today in SJKC or sekolah kebangsaan, it's the same nonsense. Our kids in standard 1 today is learning standard 3 punya module. Back during our era when we were in standard 1, we learn standard 1 subject. I pun tak faham, kalau MOE, Ministry of Education, you're listening, I tak faham kenapa korang buat macam tu. Kesian anak-anak sekarang, baik standard 1 sampai standard 6, form 1 sampai form 5 sama je. Why are you rushing all this? Nak naikkan martabat, tapi guru-guru tak diberikan support yang enough for them to teach kid an advanced module. Renung-renungkan, nanti ke akhirat kena tanya betul. So 6 months before my son masuk standard 1, I engage a professional Mandarin cikgu 1-to-1. I hantar hantar ke rumah dia, memang dia ajar, memang dia garang gila dengan I sekali kena marah. Tapi I fikir, apa niat I? Niat I adalah I nak anak I fasih Mandarin, the very least dia tahulah menulis, dia tahulah membaca sikit-sikit yang basic, supaya dia masuk standard 1, dia tak meminta-minta dekat kawan-kawan dia yang lain, cikgu untuk ajar dia. At least dia boleh fit in. And Alhamdulillah, even though that 6 months was very costly in terms of my son's mental health, I bet, sebab dia takut gila, dia trauma gila. Tapi now looking back, my son is in standard 4 right now. Alhamdulillah, he is one of the best Malay students in his school yang Mandarin level dia better than some Chinese kids and some Malay kids. As his parent, I invested in his well-being, because for me personally, I tak kisah kalau I miskin, janji I educated. Sebab dengan education, kita boleh cari skill, kita boleh cari peluang, kita boleh cari duit. Tapi bila you tak ada education, you tetap boleh cari peluang-peluang tu, cuma you kena kayuh lebih sikit. If you can do it, Alhamdulillah. But we've met a lot of people yang struggle, lepas tu dia give up. Lepas give up, dia tak boleh nak cari sumber pendapatan basic to support their family. You have to understand your children punya learning capacity. My children, I realise diorang lebih belajar bila it's one to one. Bila it's one to many, meaning one class ada 10 orang, they can't focus. Dekat sinilah datangnya your skill as their parent, because you tak boleh rasa hantar di tuition yang ada 10 orang dalam kelas, dia boleh belajar. My kids memang tak boleh. Next is identify the right SJK school within your area. Masa anak you 5 tahun, terus apply dekat MOE. Jangan tunggu anak kita 6 tahun, because lagi famous sekolah Cina tu, lagi panjang queue untuk list dia. So better submit you punya application to enroll into SJKC when your child is at 5 years old. And then I remember my son got a different SJKC, tapi kita appeal masa my son 6 years old. Kita appeal bulan Oktober macam tu untuk tukar sekolah Cina yang lain, because masa I applied for sekolah Cina yang education level dia sangat tinggi. Diorang titik beratkan education. So choose the right SJKC for you, and jangan risau kalau you dah apply A, you can still apply B or tukar sekolah. Now, what you need to look into in your SJKC is that whether canteen dia halal atau tidak. I'm so blessed, my son punya sekolah, canteen provider dia memang orang Muslim. So memang guarantee halal, tak ada supplier lain, ada seorang tu je. But I know not all schools are like that. So if that is a challenge for you, meaning provider canteen dia tak halal, then nak tak nak you kena engage caterer luar. Kalau sekolah tu provide, please do ask, or you kena prepare bekal hari-hari. And during the first couple of years of my son's journey in SJKC, I did not send him to kafar from Monday to Friday. That's the price I paid for him, because I need him to strengthen his Mandarin literacy. But what I did was I sent him to private kafar once a week on Saturday. And then come to where he is now, when his Mandarin has been strengthened, what I do is I now stop the private kafar. Now I send him to kafar, because it's time to catch up dengan agama. I know not all parents are okay with this, sebab kafar tu penting. You know, at the end of the day, there's a trade-off that we have to make. There's no perfect decision or solution or strategy. You do you. Petang tu I hantar dia transit, which is also a tuition center yang akan siapkan dia punya homework, supaya malam dia tak payah nak pergi tuition dah. And moms and dad, thanks to AI and ChatGPT, ya Allah, terima kasih banyak-banyak. Homework anak I sekarang no problem anymore. So don't worry about homework, okay? We have AI. Use AI to your advantage. So on average, in the first few years of my son's journey in SJKC, SJKC is free. Tapi yang tuition, semua benda tu tak free. Tu memang I spend 2,000. Orang kata baik hantar education international ke private. Suka hati I lah nak belanja berapa. I know what I'm doing. Do you know what you're doing? But now it has reduced tremendously, because he's literate already, Alhamdulillah. I needed to invest those 2,000 per month untuk tolong dia literate. But now, Alhamdulillah, dah tak belanja banyak tu dah. Alhamdulillah, dengan simpanan savings from that 2,000, I dah boleh mula invest for his education, bagi dia apa-apa opportunity yang dia nak. So, kan I cakap dekat you, I went to 7 tadika, right? I ni memang terrorist lah. When it comes to education, I memang sangat berkira. I will choose the best of the best. I have the template that kalau you nak, I boleh bagi. If you nak, you have to drop your details at the link below, and you will get this template for free. And with that, that's my personal story of sending my 2 beautiful boys to SJKC. InsyaAllah, doakan I mampu untuk hantar diorang ke Islamic International School or whatever school yang sesuai waktu SMK nanti, and hantar diorang ke Australia waktu universiti ke mana-mana je lah I nak hantar dia. Tengoklah mana tu, time tu I dah ada universiti I sendiri, jimat sikit duit. And with that, I wish you all the best. Jangan lupa, anak kita dia tak pilih untuk datang ke dunia ni, kita yang pilih untuk conceive dia. Kita bertanggungjawab untuk plan dia punya tadika, agama, primary, secondary, tertiary, and walaupun kita dah mati, kita juga bertanggungjawab untuk educate dia. So mula your preparation. If you don't know where to start, for mummies out there, join us in our upcoming Women and Wealth Workshop, our 6 months mentoring program. With that, thank you so much for joining us in this episode. If you want to collaborate, email us at marketing@aisharahman.com.